I'm here today with Chris from Pub Games, and here we're checking one of the indie games on show, this BlastPoints. Now, Chris, would you like to tell us a little bit about Pub Games and the history of Pub Games as a developing studio?
Yeah, sure. Well, Pub Games actually kind of started off by accident. There was a whole bunch of us that were finishing a double degree, and we got to that point where we kind of knew A, D, and F, but figured we were probably hadn't been taught B, C, and E. So we started making games for the sake of making it to figure out what we didn't know. Anyway, the funny thing was the best ideas we were having ended up coming from when we were in a more casual environment. The meetings weren't helping, but we'd go across and grab dinner at the pub, a couple of drinks, just discussions, and you'd start planning out games with salt shakers and pepper shakers and beer coasters. And pretty much the second someone pointed out that we could call ourselves Pub Games and have a beer coaster for a logo, the rest was history, I guess.
Now, of course, we're here for BlastPoints, but is this the first title that you've released? Tell us about some of the other games that Pub Games has been involved with.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, so this is the first title that we've released as a Pub Games title. Before this, we've done a fair bit of contract work. The most two prominent titles, I guess, that we've done some work on would be Primal Carnage for PC, as well as Influx, which is down there, second to the end, Influx by Impromptu. That's a puzzle game. We've done a bit of work on that as well for them. There's been various other things floating around, but those are the two biggest ones.
Now, tell us a little bit about BlastPoints. I mean, certainly when I look at it, I get a kind of a feel of something like Lilac Wars crossed with Descent, and I don't know how many viewers out there know Descent, but I mean, it's one of those classic kind of like space crawlers going through a 3D shooter.
Yeah. Well, we actually have a copy of Descent sitting there, the original copy in the office. I love it. So BlastPoints, for us, there was a few things that we really wanted to try and do. First and foremost, we wanted to get a game that was kind of fast-paced, that was similar to a console experience, but being brought to your phone or being brought to, a tablet device. That was one of our first goals. Obviously it's a space combat game, so that seemed like one of our first ways to go about it, because you can move around, you can have an exhilarating feeling, but you don't need that many obstacles really that can cause boundaries, I guess, for casual players, things to slam into. In addition to that, we've got, we basically started attacking it from the level of customizability. We've ended up with 34 million item combinations within the game, which is decent. And that's really meant that players can kind of flesh out the type of ships they want, the weapon systems they want, blah, blah, blah. It's good. And on top of that, the final one was, it had to be shiny, I guess. We're working with Unreal Engine, we're licensees actually. And we've been working really closely with both Epic Games and NVIDIA for the Android, and Qualcomm for the Android builds. And that's been really good for us because it's meant that we can squeeze a lot out of these devices. We can pretty much get the explosions as crisp as we can. We can get dozens of ships on screen blowing each other up. We actually, one of the things we're showcasing today is, so on the main screen, is we've got a battle mode coming in, where at any one stage, I think it's 35 ships will be flying around you, blowing each other up, which for a phone is kind of nice, kind of special. So I'm really excited to see how it goes.
Okay. Now, of course, it's on both Android and iOS platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, tell us about the promotion and getting it out there. I guess as an indie developer, you have a good idea, and it's about trying to get it out there. How has your experience been in terms of getting it out there? I mean, obviously, this is great exposure, but I'd love to hear some more.
Yeah. I mean, look, when we first came out, we were on iOS, and iOS, the Apple Store is great, but there's a huge noise floor. There's getting noticed is really, really tricky, and to be honest, we didn't do it. We tried, but we couldn't just get the exposure that we needed. The things that we originally pursued were the obvious things. So you got your mail outs, you've got your social media stuff, but we've really been pushing this kind of stuff a lot more to see if we can build up more networks and see if we can get more people actually just noticing the game. The trick with being an independent developer is just really simple, is that, look, there's a lot of these guys have amazing products. They really do. But at the end of the day, getting through that noise floor is, to be honest, a large chunk of it is chance. We actually worked with Surprise Attack, which is the marketing company directly over there, originally for the distribution. But the best thing that we've done so far in getting BlastPoints noticed was we went free-to-play. Free-to-play saw the downloads just jumping up by the thousands daily. And the thing was, is people started playing it a lot more, they started talking, and that just really, really, really helped us out. I mean, I can't see us releasing mobile projects in the future where we at least don't consider that as an extremely strong contender, because that's been great for us.
Certainly I've had a go of it on the Android, and I really encourage those out there to give it a shot. I mean, it is free to download off Google Play, etc. So, look, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to say about BlastPoints?
Look, it's we've had constant streams of content coming in as much as we can. We're always updating it. We're always bringing in new stuff. So if you want to check it out, please do.